Wait, your face is leather or
Serious, hey.
or
You
yes?
maybe first?
Huh?
You're not continue.
Yeah, man. But yeah, improvement is slow because I'm not, I don't have the time actually.
Hey, hello guys. Okay, so the title is right. I don't know. Somebody said it's Android for dummies or whatever. So I just put three dots. You can say anything. Yes, it's Android in 45 minutes. Yeah, again. So what I'll try to cover is obviously no coding and no coding questions. So just some basics of Android and how to compile or like how to run an app, some fundamental components of the app, how the data processing work, multitasking, and then some UI stuff, how we handle the fragmentations, some push notification stuff, and some like how to upload or restore stuff. Yeah. Okay, I copy pasted many things from many sources, so there might be some things that I don't know. So if there's something, just Google it, okay? Don't ask. This is the version history, and for some of you, if you don't know, the version names of Android is always in alphabetical order.
Oh,
Yes.
I see. Know that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it was for you.
Oh.
So okay, the
So
last,
next one is K. KitKat.
yes, KitKat.
Makes sense. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
What happened with long
Huh?
What
Stop
happened
having
when
me.
they long
What happens when Apple OS is download of big cat names like lion, mountain lion, everything? So
Yeah, I know.
what happens?
So
No, maybe.
Yeah, except deserts.
yeah, no, that's
Except deserts, they start naming something else.
Yeah. Maybe then food names or yeah, planet names. I don't know. It is still too far.
There's more animals than the 20th
No,
century.
actually, they do one more thing. If you see 1.0, 1.1, and 1.23 is missing. Never mind. 1.5, they all have different names. But then, if you go to 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, they were all honeycomb. Then 4.0 and 4.1 is different, but 4.2 and 4.3 is again same jelly
I
beans.
think at that time Android already there.
So yeah, so they repeat sometimes, and it's like it's still too far. Next 2 years, 3 years, are safe.
You have more job.
Doesn't matter.
Hey, welcome, Kane.
Oh.
Shit, what you're going? Okay. Then yeah. So where Android is, where you can find Android actually. Yeah, phones, tablets, tablets. And then when I was trying to find where Android is running, I also found that there are TVs, microwaves, washing machines, cars.
You said this
And-
morning, yesterday.
Why you were present yesterday and today both? You don't have any work.
I'm taking a break.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I'm going to say all the same things. Yes.
Can I have an ice cream sandwich?
No. Now it's KitKat coming in few months. You can get that. Yeah.
Let's buy more Kit Kats for the office.
Yes.
sorry.
Shit. Peter, if you are interested in learning Android, you can come here. Okay. Some basic things about the architecture. Android is basic. It's based on the Linux kernel. So the very low level thing is Linux, which like handle the device hardware. On top of that, there are some open source libraries, mainly written in C, which like handle like screen touches, database, and some other things that like quite obvious when you see the library name like OpenGL. And the libc here is to execute the C functionalities if you are using NTK. Then on the right of the mid layer is Android runtime, which it basically works on Dalvik virtual machine instead of the Java virtual machine. It's different. It like apparently it works in the same way, but Dalvik is like Android own things. It's different than the Oracle, so they don't need a license from Oracle. One, And secondly, the JVM it runs the class files, but the Dalvik it compiles the class files further in the DEX files, and it runs it. So basically, your Java code it first compile into the .class files and then in .dex files, and then it executes on the Dalvik virtual machine. And why there are two layers? Because assume if you already have a Java compiled library which is .class files, and that there's some like mathematical computation library or something, then you can still import it in your project, so it can be used. And on top of that, there's the application framework which handle like Android level things. For suppose telephony activities. Okay, I will define it later. And some things are obvious like notification manager and location manager. On very top, there are some default applications that comes with your Android phone, which is like phone and browser and contacts. Okay, so how to like execute it on your phone? The easiest way is to download the ADT bundle from Google, which includes Eclipse plus ADT. So you don't need to configure many things, just unzip it and run. For when you will run it for the first time, you will need to download the SDK, and the URL below actually it has some snapshot. So if you don't know where the Eclipse controls or anything, you can refer to that if you really want to run. Then yeah, you shouldn't use default emulator. It takes a lot of resources and it doesn't work well. So you should use a third-party emulator or simply use your phone. You need to allow debugging first. And when I say debugging, actually you can use ADB. This is again another buzzword with Android, which is Android debug bridge. What it does, it allows you to send some commands to your phone to do several things. And the common things are like install an application, access the file system on your phone, debug an application as well. But it's basically it's a command line tool, but we don't really need to use that because the Eclipse provides GUI to do so if you have installed the ADT plugin.
Why your video nice?
Huh?
Why your video nice? Confused face.
Okay, it was basically for yesterday, and I was expecting more iOS developers yesterday. So I know when I say nice, they have very high expectations. So it's a GUI interface, I will say. And sometimes it's like it hangs and you need to restart. That's all. Okay, the application fundamentals is like there are 4 things which Android says is the application fundamentals. Okay, first thing is activities. It's like the most basic component or like most popular component that you directly see. Basically, whatever the screens that you see on your phone are activities, and obviously it's like every application has several activities which can like start each other. I think from the definition point of view, that's all. Just all the visible parts of the screens are activities. There's one thing called fragment which I will cover later. And okay, this screen is showing a typical life cycle of activity. So I didn't really intend to include the coding stuff, but I am including this because we also have life cycles for views. We also have life cycles for fragments, but the simplest one is like activity, and we get function callbacks whenever we launch an activity. The on create is the very first function when the activity is getting created, and after that it's on start and on resume. Usually we use on create and on resume in our code. On create is the very first creation, and on resume. On resume means whenever your activity becomes visible. For suppose you are using an application and something comes on top of that. Let's say you receive a call, then it will get in on pause mode. Then when you start it again, it will go into on resume. So yep, if we want to do something whenever an activity gets visible, we usually use on resume, otherwise we use on create. Then the middle of the state is when your activity is really active and it's running, and the below part is the counter function of the top, which is on pause, on stop, and on destroy.
is the activity already take up a thread itself?
Sorry.
The activity take up a thread itself.
Activity take up is thread itself.
We say that activity actually is a thread.
Activity is the same as view controller, so it does not have its own thread.
Okay.
There's only one UI grid that's running.
Maybe when I will discuss multi-threading, yeah, but he answers this. There's one UI thread which is controlling all the UI, and you can start different threads.
It's only full stack level.
Okay, the second thing in the fundamentals are services. Okay, there's just one iOS developer, other than other server side. Who's
It's not how we show it.
he's Windows Phone, and then he do server and iOS. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm also a Java programmer.
Wow,
I
awesome.
also do
See,
web,
I
also
thought
do server
I thought
programming.
Naveen is the only multi-platform guy. Naveen. Oh wow. Huh? How? I don't know you are iOS. Okay. Okay. The services is actually they don't have an interface, and it's like background task, the task running in the background, and it's slightly different than the multi-threading, because multi-threading you have a parent task which is starting a thread. Services itself is like a parent, and it can keep running in the background. So the typical examples are playing music. So you launch a music player, and then it goes in the background, or there's a large file download which is like downloading in the background or things like this. Uh, in contrast to some other platforms like Windows Phone, I don't know how it works on Windows 8, but at least Windows 7 is too conservative. It does not allow you to run a process in the background. And also, I think in iOS there are some limits in background processes.
Only music.
Huh?
Phone thing.
Music, phone, and what else?
Okay, but on Android, you can run a service and you can let it run forever. It's kind of a bad practice if you don't handle it properly and your service is running forever. But Android allows you to do so. It's you,
I see two phone for you.
yeah, but it's you who are more responsible for making a proper usage. Yes.
Yeah, it is whereas
No, but
Is there any like an app to detect what is long running service in your phone that you can destroy that service because it take up too much?
you can see your running
Services,
application.
sorry.
Yeah.
Services memory, it doesn't take up much memory or processing. It's supposed to be for light tasks, something like reminder at this point of time.
No, but I guess what he's asking is that if some developer is really abusing the service and he's doing something stupid, then
Then you can just uninstall the app or you can force stop the app.
that's what he asked. How he will know that this application is taking.
You check the battery stats, which
Yeah.
are taking.
Okay, this is the answer. You can do two things. One, you can check the running applications. It's like a task manager. You can see which applications are running, and it also gives you the memory usage and I think the processor usage, at least on some phone. And also
so you don't have something like the auto garbage collection, right?
auto.
Garbage collection, like if the service running for too long.
It's a different thing. It's a different thing. Wait, I answer this first. Yeah, and also there's a battery manager which show you which application is taking more battery. You can see, and then if some application is very terrible on battery life, take it out. Yeah, garbage collection. See, garbage collection is a different concept. It's like
I don't mean real garbage collection. I mean something like that. That if some service running too long, take up too much resources, just kill it.
It will stop if other apps are being also consuming that much memory, and this is coming in the way. It
okay,
won't stop if there is no reason to stop.
okay.
So it's not like auto stopping
Wait.
to the user to that.
No, wait.
No, the programmer has to do that.
It's not auto stopping. That's what I say. Android doesn't put a hard limit that it's like 10 minutes or something. No, there's no such thing. But let's say if there's another concept, multi-threading, which you can just start a thread from an activity. But what happens is that when you close the activity, I mean you send the application in the background, and your device getting low on memory, then Android will kill your application, which is in the background, because usually the background applications are not in use, and most of the users, they don't close the application explicitly, they just press the home button or something comes on the top and they forget what's in the background. So Android kills that, and any thread started with that will be killed. But services are different. Services are made for that purpose, that when your application is in the background, it can still run. So it's made for this purpose, so Android will not kill it. But if your phone is really low on memory, which is not really a case with S4 or something, because they get 2 or 3 GB of RAM, yeah, it will not kill. That's my understanding. If I'm doing wrong, only 2 guys. S2 are not here, they can interrupt. Yeah. Then content providers. The basic purpose of content providers is to share data across applications. So for the typical example is that there's a context applications by default on phone, like your context address book, and your application, let's say you are making a messenger like WhatsApp or Viber, and it needs that list of contacts. So it can access that contact list by content providers. And also, so it provides a standard way. Yeah, you can take it.
Thanks.
What?
It's thanks.
Okay.
It's shared memory, right?
Huh?
It's passing object by shared memory.
Is passing object by shared memory? No. What do you mean by shared memory?
Oh, no, sorry.
No.
Confused by the shared object between thread.
No, it's no shared files or shared memory. Oh, it should be no with both.
Both, no.
Yeah.
So it's no shared files and also no
Yeah, I
shared
mean,
memory.
for writing this, I mean that there's not like a. It's even you can do like on your PC, you can use your C drive to write a text file from one application and the other application will read it. But obviously, it's not a good practice. So same case with here. There's no such central thing that you throw your some data and the other application pulls it. So content provider is the official way to publicly share your data. I mean, you can make some parts of your data public, and there's like a standard function query, update, insert, which you can use.
Let's say I can send my photo from application A to application B using that.
Sending photo from application A to application B is something different. It can be done with intent. What you are saying is that it's something like you capture your photo from one application and then you are sending it for editing to other application.
Okay.
Or it's like when you click on the photo, it gives you a list of applications which can open it. It's not directly sharing of data. It's more, see it more like accessing database of another application. If you want to see more technical word.
Yeah, but let's say I want to say not image but some other stuff from app A to app B. I'm gonna use this.
Okay, more. Content provider is pulling data from other application, not sending data.
Oh, not sending coding.
Yeah, you are accessing other applications data. More like pulling here.
I see.
So application has made a data shared which is available, and when you need it, you can pull it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So the other application has to run in the process, or it can be something.
Okay, different process.
No, it's
It's just like you have your data, yes, but you expose to the content provider.
And do you have to run for other applications to get your data?
Sorry.
He's asking, let's say when you are pulling the context from the contact list or address book, does that application need to run?
No need.
But I think it will start in the background, no?
No need.
Okay.
It's just the data.
Yeah, it's just the data, it's not executing anything. It's just basically it's like providing you interface to
Yes.
database.
Content provider just is like interface expose your data to the
Yeah.
to other applications.
But yeah, you cannot run SQL queries directly, it's like with some functions.
Okay, it's a bit.
Okay. We also use private content providers, but The basic purpose is to share data, so just I am skipping the use that parrot user is not very encouraged. Then the third or fourth fundamental is the broadcast receivers. You consider it as event receivers. Uh, they are mostly we use it for like default system events. Let's say system startup, and some events I'm listing here like battery power is low or something. So if your application is registered to receive these events, it will receive it, and then you can do something with that event. For suppose you can start a service as soon as your phone boots up. You can like set some alarms. Let's say an alarm application can configure alarms when the phone boots up or something. Yep. And for example, like Dropbox, it pauses the uploading when the battery is low and things like this. So you and these are system events, but your application can also initiate events. Let's say your application is downloading, it says download finished. So if some other application want to do something, it can do. And also like when we receive this notification, we receive an event for a specific application that you receive and this, and then we process for them. Any questions so far? Yes, no. Good. Okay. Then how to process data, how to save data. Basically, there are two types. One is your very simple usage, which is just key value pairs. Let's say you want to save your user ID, last execution time, if this is the first execution of application, and some things like this, which is just always one value. Okay, you can even save object or list like you serialize a string or comma separate string was not a good practice. Usually it's for one value, key value pair thing. It's called shared preferences, so you can set it and you can retrieve it for application. Second, more complex part is when you have proper data sets like tables. So Android provides support for SQLite database. You can use that. And what you can do with that, first we have direct access to SQLite database, so you can execute queries directly. You can set up some ORM, that's up to you. And as a developer, I mean, we receive callbacks for on create and on update, which is like when your application is first installed or if it's getting an update, like you are installing over some previous install. So we receive both events and we have the control whatever we want to do. We can like call some create table queries to create tables, or if we can even like keep SQLite file itself which has the proper structure, or even it can have a preloaded data. So we can just copy that file to applications data folder and it will work. And in case of on update, we can even like it's even possible that if we just provide some alter table queries or we just replace the whole database, and it's also possible that let's say if user skip some updates, like you have already published 3-4 updates and user is updating your application after 4th or 5th update, and you can list all the alter table queries that you have already provided with some other applications. But it's like some maintenance work that you need to take care of, and usually in our applications we don't really do this. What we usually do is just clear the database and install it again. But it's possible. I mean, if you have such case, you can do this. And just one thing about database is it's possible to query database on UI tray. I mean, there's no restriction. So sometimes some people do this, and when the database size increases and the queries takes more time, it starts a lagging experience. So it's not really encouraged to do, but you can do again. Most of the development is not really conservative on Android, so you can do this. So if you see an application is lagging, one of the possible reasons is database queries, but database queries are usually fast, so not main reason for lagging. Then multitasking is okay. Two things. One is services that I already told you, which runs in the background, or broadcast receivers. Actually, broadcast receivers doesn't come in multitasking. It's just like events that you can receive and you can do something. Also, you can do something in the background. Then within applications, you can use if you know Java, then a simple Java threading works. But on top of that, Android also provide a good mechanism called async tasks, which give you events that a thread is going to start and thread is finished. So you can do something for the UI, like initiating a progress dialog and removing it or something, and it also do in the background. And one more control you get on that is that you can decide if your threads needs to be run in parallel or you want to start all your threads in it's going to be sequential or parallel. So you can decide like maximum 3 threads will run in parallel. So if 3 of your threads are already in processing and you try to create another background thread, it will wait for one of them to finish if your maximum pool size is 3, for example. So it's in your control.
Or just to set it to max.
There's a default number, but usually it varies with different OS. On Gingerbread it was 5, then on ICS they are going to reduce it to 1. I don't know what's with Jelly Beans. Yeah, I mean no, you can if you are not doing anything, you are just using a default word of a starting thread and it will be 1 background thread. At least on ICS, I don't know what's on Jelly Beans. Default
you
pool size is
can-
1, right? No.
I don't know the you can customize.
Yeah, but you can very easily
You
customize it.
can customize. You write your own executor.
Yeah.
It's in Java. That's for Java for multi-track. So you can write your own.
So you shouldn't really rely on default settings because something happened to me. Like last year or something, I was testing it on Gingerbread. It was running in parallel like 4 or 5 threads. Client was testing on he has like ICS something, and it was not giving the desired behavior. So yeah, shouldn't rely on default, but it's very easy to do. Then one more thing that you keep hearing is a manifest file, it's an XML file. The major purposes of this file is like you define all the permissions that's required for running that application. Basically, Android processes this file only at like installation time, so it reads it, or it's also used for like Google Play. So it majorly defines permissions, your application version. Also, you can define some devices that you want to restrict. You don't want your application to install on tablets, for example, so you can restrict the screen size. You can also define the minimum OS version, so you don't want to support the devices which says less than ICS or something. These all things can be done on manifest file.
Just one big question. How does Android handle the different screen size by selecting the client image? For example,
Last slide, second last slide.
talking about
Okay, the second last slide. Okay, UI elements. I know you are all like smartphone users, so you have seen most of the things, and the purpose here is not to introduce, but mostly like some things you already know, but you don't know the name. So first purpose, just tell you the technical name and some capabilities. I am not really showing to what level you can customize it, but just a general rule of thumb. If you are going to use default layout, it will take less time than a customized one. I think the same case with iOS, right? So, but and it depends upon the customization. If it's just a change of background image or color or something, it's again low. But the client is asking for very different thing. So, I mean, I cannot give you a hard and fast rule that it's taking more time or it's taking less time. But yeah, I will just go through some of the controls that are available, and hopefully it will be fast. So yeah.
Who's video layout and relative layout?
It's just
Okay.
Take all view, UI, Nexon view.
something like that.
I think it should be referred to this view, where view is scope view, right?
Okay, wait. So, how I am dividing this, there are
It's just
like,
layout can contain view. That's-
Oh,
that's
okay,
it.
so there are view groups which are like parent view which can have children views. So, view groups are like linear layout. I think there are 2, 3 more, but okay, these are more popular ones that we keep using. Linear layout, relative layout, and list views, and then grid view and scroll view. So, they all contain some children views actually. They cannot be just empty. It's more apparent views.
Layout much better control Layout machine like a view controller.
No, it's not.
It's not a window.
It's bindings.
It's a view. It's a view, but it's a parent view. Sometimes it can draw something.
Yeah, it can do something, but
Yeah.
It's a view controller.
No, it's not. It's view controller doesn't draw. Yeah.
Controller somehow draws.
No, it doesn't draw himself.
So layout doesn't draw anything, just like
No, layout draw. Can draw.
can draw but
Can
normally
draw his draw also himself.
I mean, obviously, okay, there can be an empty linear layout. You can set a background image and you can set its sizes, so it will just display that image, right? There will be nothing inside it.
what's the difference between linear layout and relative layout?
Oh, okay, I discussed it.
It's self-explained, huh? Linear, just linear.
Actually, yeah, sorry, yeah, I was just supposed to explain grid layout, that's all, because I thought it's okay. Linear, when you add children to linear, it just put it in a linear fashion. Only thing you can customize it either horizontal or vertical, and obviously the space between the element is your padding or margin, but it will keep adding all the things in like linear fashion. So, for example, if you have a row of, you have a list view, right? So it has rows. So every row can be a linear layout with horizontal. So all elements are like in the horizontal fashion. And
That's the stack banner, right? Windows Phone stack banner.
I'm not really sure about the stack panel.
Even more terms.
This is even more confusing.
Yeah, even more terms.
Like your Windows Phone.
I don't remember actually stack panel. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I did
That's a
one.
navigation controller.
Just try
Yeah,
it.
should be a navigation controller. It makes the relative just like a power view controller.
Okay, then the relative layout is actually position all the children in a relative fashion.
Don't compare with this iOS. This
It's
Android doesn't follow the what, the MVC, you know. So that's no clear MVC.
Yeah, it tries.
So you should not.
Yeah, it tries to separate out the things, but like it's like highly
It's kind of
coupled
mixed.
and
Kind of
it's
mixed,
not purely
Yeah.
decoupled. Yeah, it's not a good example. There are some third-party frameworks out there, but
for
Yeah.
Android.
yeah, for MVC, but I never
Because
tried.
controller and view is quite better in Android.
Whoa.
It's quite mixed.
Yeah.
So cannot
So
compare.
it's a very design.
There is another design. Yeah.
Probably another,
I-
another paradigm of.
Actually, I will not even say it's a bad design or something. It's more like you can do many things in the view and then you can do same things in the controller. So it's mixed up. There is like views are separate. Okay.
So I think they should mix the model in. So do everything in one.
Okay.
How do you bind the view to the controller? Is there any binding?
Yeah, there is.
For the view?
There is.
Yeah.
How do you bind it?
There's some kind of adapter to bind data to the view. Adapter called adapter.
Okay.
Yes.
Like how? So,
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anyways, just defining these parent containers. Linear is putting all the children in the linear fashion. Relative, each children can be relative to other. So you can add something on, like, let's say on the top left of the screen, and then the other thing you can set it to start on the bottom of the first children or something like this, or it can be like bottom of the screen, and then you can like make the positions relative to screen dimensions or some of the children, whatever. No, not auto. How is auto?
No. It's iOS.
No, so for example, there's like full screen layout.
So it's really a layout.
Yeah.
So the linear layout and the relative layout is already the layout for the views, right?
Yeah.
You
So
control the position of the view.
Oh.
yeah, so you add one children that like left bottom, and then the other children on the top edge of that child. So you can do it in the relative. So these are the two that we use most, relative and linear. Mostly relative. Relative can do all sort of positioning if you are getting it. Then list view, I think I don't know what's the name in the iOS. It's just a list, okay, whatever. It's a very common view. Yeah, it's like a list and yeah. And then grid view, which has a picture next. Okay, scroll view. Scroll view is something like linear relative view, but let's say if your view has too many children and it's like getting out of the screen size. So if you put it under the scroll view, you can scroll it. Otherwise, it will just get out of the screen, but you cannot do anything. Okay, next, just try to show up a view of grid view, but I think it's just like it can use some adapter to put the children in the grid view. Okay, input controls mostly are like very common. You have buttons, text fields, chat boxes, whatever the written on the screen. Some things to mention here is again text fields. We call it edit text because there's a text view which is normal text view just to display, and the text field is edit text. That like technical name in Android, and then the buttons right. I set two things: toggle button or switch. It's slightly different than checkbox. So checkbox work in the same way on off state, but we have a different thing which is called button. And like up to gingerbread, we had toggle button. I will display the picture in next. Okay, maybe I will just switch. First, the edit text is the text field. One important thing about it is that you can set its type. So if you set it to number or font, it will change the keypad.
So one question. How can you customize the keypad?
Yeah, that's what I said. If,
No, I mean in which level can you do the customize?
what do you mean by customization here?
Like you change the color of the background, change the individual theme color, and change the font size, change whatever
Of
thing.
the keyboard?
Yeah, keyboard.
I never tried.
You can. No, customize this one. Then you need to install your custom ROM, right? That is not for application.
No,
Well,
what
on
you are
top-
saying is
Yeah,
it's a new keyboard for every application. Wait,
What
wait.
he said is just for the ROM.
No, I thought his question was that if your let's say your application theme is red, then the keyboard is popping up. It should be red or something. No, not for application level.
No.
No,
No, but
So
you
you
can
can-
code this kind of thing.
but you can do certain things, right? Like the most corner button, you can change it to search icon or like the 2-3 things here. But not that type of customization that you said. No color customization. Yeah, but yeah, you can have
Not even change the color of it.
If you want to customize it, you need to code all the whole thing.
Or
no, but
No,
If
not
like-
using the system one. Yeah.
something like simply just change the background color.
I think I know.
possible.
But
wait, no. What he said is that like you created a virtual keyboard which is actually a touch screen thing.
I know that is another story, but if like I just want keep it, so I just change the color. The black
no.
keyboard looks quite bad to my app, so I want a recolor one. It's possible.
No, I don't think. Because then you will start using weird colors and users will feel difficulty maybe. I don't know, but yeah, you cannot.
But on your app, you can choose a theme, right? That's a like live for your team.
Yeah.
This thing didn't apply to this system keyboard.
So keyboard is open.
Yeah. This is system level, so you have no permission to customize this kind of thing. Yeah. Unless you like let's say you install your custom.
Code your own keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are many like keyboards available to install, but that's a different story. You cannot control it with your application. Okay, yeah, this is the customization, the very quick things that you can do. You can just define a type and it will open the keyboard with like relative keyboard. If you are setting it to email, it will have an add character and things like this. Okay, the second thing that I was discussing was the toggle button. The difference from Gingerbread and ICL is that previously we had toggle buttons, now we have switch. So this is the default layout, and the default layout also differs from different builds. But yeah, it's the one picture that you can find on the Google website, and both works in very same manner, and they extend from the compound button. So yeah, what you can even do is that you define two different layouts for your old version and new version, and at the layout, right? So here and here the views are separate, and in the code you can use the compound button class to handle them. It will work fine.
So you mean after after Android 4.0, there's no more toggle buttons.
Yeah, they are switched. No, what do you mean? There are no more toggle button.
All the old toggle buttons replaced with a switch.
Okay, if you will define a toggle, because toggle button is a different class and switch is a different class. If you will
So
define a
it's-
toggle
it's
button,
used. It's used.
it's still used. It will still display the toggle button. Yeah, but like in one of the applications, what I did, I defined a short layout part separately for Android and Gingerbread. So on Android, it was displaying this, and for Gingerbread, it's displaying this. And there are also some third-party libraries to just use switching previous versions also. Then some people get confused with this name, spinner. Spinner is actually drop down.
Spinner, how can they name like that? Who named this?
Yeah, even first time I was confused with this. And yeah, spinner is drop down. So if somebody from Android side is technically saying you spinner, it's not that spinner progress, it's spinner is drop down. And we also have pickers, but that's used for the date and time picker thing, technically. Yeah, this is one of the technical things you should remember. Okay, then other UI elements like the dialog boxes, I just show three pictures to tell you that yeah, it can be customized. You can set out your layouts and everything. And what other things you can choose is that the screen can be semi-transparent, and also you can set it to not to cancel because we have a back button. If you use a default dialog and you press the back button, it will be clear, but you can set it to not to clear by back button. The user must choose something on the dialog. Otherwise, exit the application is it's another story.
Oh,
Can you throw your own controls on the dialog?
Yeah, we can customize the layout of the dialog. Yes, depend upon what your on control is, but yeah, we can do. Then we have a quick notification thing, which is a toast. Technical name is toast. It's like this. The right one is a default view, and yeah, you can customize its layout. You can customize its time, its position. And one more thing, it's an overlay, right? So okay, I will discuss the fragments later, but just to give you a quick view, let's say you have a swiping gesture, like you swipe the screens for different things. So it's an overlay. It will not swipe with your fragment. It's basically on activity level, and it's an overlay to that. It will not swipe with the screen. Okay, then some UX elements. Actually, again, UI elements. I just name it UX because it's more for navigation. Navigation tower is like very standard way of doing things. It's a sliding tower, also available on iOS. Previously, we were using some third-party libraries, but now from I think 4.1 or 4.2, we have a native Android navigation tower, which is okay. One more thing to handle different fragmentation of devices like old versions and some things. Uh, okay, I didn't include that slide. There are two ways. First, whenever they add some new features in like later releases, we also have a compatibility library which we can use in the older releases. So we can get that features. And they are also doing one more thing. Some of the Google related features like let's say Google Plus, Google Authentication, Google Maps, and all like Google services, they are putting it under the Google Play services. So it's also a library, and if you have like Android 2.2 and you install that Google Play application once, it will keep auto updating itself, and all the new features are available. So that is one way of handling a lot of fragmentation. So yeah, it's also available with the compatibility library. Action bar is I think something unique to Android. So it's a top bar. The purpose of this bar is to give a consistent look within your application and also with other applications, so user knows that there are some controls on the top. And the most left icon is your application icon usually, and if it's a sub-level activity, it will have a back arrow to go to the top level. And then you can decide about the controls like which is more critical, you can always display it, and which are less critical, like the user uses sometimes it can go under the overflow action menu, and it will be the overflow items. So there's one more thing, contextual action bar is basically when you long tap something to select it. Long tap is like a right click or something to select an item. So when you select something, then it displays a contextual action bar which show you options related to that item. Let's say you long press an image, so possible action items will be delete that image or share that image. Okay, fragments. In my initial slide, I said that activities are the layouts. So, but starting from Honeycomb was Android 3.0. They introduced fragments. Fragments are like subparts of your screen. So now your screen can be divided into independent parts, which has its own life cycle, and it's slightly different than views. Also, views have their life cycle, but it's more like activity. So it's a complete screen and complete functionality.
It's like fragments of view.
Fragments?
Fragment of the view.
Fragment of the view.
Is that word fragment?
Okay, I give you example. When I say activity, right? Activity is a complete screen. You cannot swipe it or slide it or something. It's a complete screen end to end. Oh, there's an okay. But if you see this YouTube app, you can slide left and right to switch the tabs. This type of thing is done by the fragments. Okay, initial concept of fragment was this, basically to handle the tablets and the phone. So your one activity is defining two layouts, and just the placement of the layout is like this. If the screen size is big enough, you place both of them at the same time. But if it is small, then you display like this, first place and the second. Sorry, any questions? No. Thanks.
How do you define fragment by code or by view?
By view and by code. I mean, no, what mean by view?
By XML.
Yeah, by XML or by Java code or by XML, that's what you said, right?
Like, do you have separate view file for phone or separate view file for?
Oh,
Okay.
actually, for fragment, right? Yeah, you can have view just but normally we just create the fragment contain view, right? But normally we just using code to
Programming the
the view inside.
layout.
I'm already invading this time. Sorry.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah. Okay. So notifications is again a UI element which is like it's a system notification tray. You all are like similar with when you receive notifications. Some of the differences are that starting from the Jelly Bean 4.1, now the notification can have an extended view, which is like the two views I'm showing at the top. So it gives you more details, and it also gives you some action buttons. Let's say if you receive an email, you can quickly reply from that notification. Otherwise, in the older version, what you do is you click on the notification, you go to an email, and then you reply. Yeah, you can do some quick things.
but when you click, it will lead you to the email application.
But it will directly open the reply window, right? Yeah. Or other things like smoothing and alarm. So it will just smooth. It will not even open that alarm window or something. Like it's smoothing a event reminder or something. Yeah. And another possibility with the notification is that it can be it can also be an ongoing notification. So these notifications, right, user can dismiss. You receive a notification, you just slide left or right, and it will be removed. But there are also ongoing notifications, which is like, let's say your antivirus is running in the background or some downloading is happening in the background. So unless it's happening, it will not be removed. It will keep here. Even user will try to slide left or right. So it's an ongoing notification. And then also you can update the notification in runtime, like you can show a dialog progress or something. Okay, there is one thing I think somebody asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, multiple screen sizes. Okay, the very basic way what Android do is that we have a concept of DIP, which is device independent pixels. So we don't use the PX, like we don't use 20 PX in code. We use 20 dp. What Android do is that, let's say if you have a low resolution screen, then Android will calculate 1 dp maybe equal to 1 pixel to a very low resolution screen. And if let's say it's very high, then it will be like 1 dp equal to 10 pixels maybe. So roughly it should cover the same area, but again roughly, not exactly. And in fact not same, but yes, for many things it handles it well. At least let's say Galaxy S3 and S4, which has same screen size almost, 4.7 and 5 inch, right? Slightly different, but the pixel density is really different. But if you define the sizes in DP, the application will work very fine on both devices. Images may not look very sharp if you are really used to use S4, but yeah, approximately it will work very fine, the DP concept. Otherwise, if you define it in pixels, your S3 application will become like half of the size on S4. This is one. Then, okay, it handles some of the things, but still you want to go specific to layout, and maybe some things are not working for the, because this DP can handle some things like from extra high to high definite high like S3 to S4, but obviously it will not go from some Galaxy Ace to S4. It will be like two different views. Galaxy S is very old. Almost a low resolution phone actually. AC, not S. AC. Yeah. Okay, I just named one phone. There can be many. Okay, so to handle it more specifically, and also like tablets and phones are different, a very big screen and very small screen. You can use alternate alternate resources, which is like this thing. So what you do is when you define a resource, you also give a qualifier, which I will discuss in the next screen. So qualifiers are like screen sizes and different screen properties. So for this type of device, it will use this, otherwise it will use that. And these resources can be images, can be layout, so there can be a totally different layout than also the text messages. Also, about images, right? If you are not providing the right image set, let's say you are providing for extra high DPI, not for very extra high DPI, extra like DPI, then Android will resize your images in the background. So it's one of the cause when let's say if your list view has a background image and you have not provided the image for the current resolution. So when you scroll very fast, it will resize in the background and it gives you a lagging experience.
So is there any standard in screen size?
What do you mean by standards?
The width and the height, or maybe 3 standards?
Okay, I will show this. Okay, so these are the qualifiers. The size column is basically the size in inches, which is what? Okay, which is like small. It all has some definitions like it's a 10 inch, 7 inch, 5 inch, or whatever. Then the density is the pixel density of the screens. Let's say S3 is XH DPI, S4 is XXX DPI, which is wow, not part of this list. And then also you can have orientation change. So you can have a very different layout for the landscape and a different layout for the portrait. So you can use this qualifier even on the same device. You can have different layout for landscape and portrait. You can use this qualifier as an alternative source of layout.
Do you name the results? Do you name it the same?
So let's say there's
same.
yeah, resource name must be same, and
Different
the
folder name.
the qualifier will be this.
And then .png.
Yeah.
Was it like this?
No, it's a
It's a
folder. It's
folder.
applied.
It's a
This is
folder.
actually folder.
It's a folder.
So yeah, this all image set is for XHDPI and this all image set is for yeah.
So
You don't need to rename every image. Yeah, it's folder.
Oh.
Actually.
Names.
Probably so.
Okay. Again, just to give you a little hint, it's an approximate measure. So let's say the small is 2 inches, normal is 4, large is 7, which is tablets. X large are like big size tablets, 10 or 10 inch tablets. Similarly, it's like DPI. So 300 DPI is like the phones that was released in early 2012 or end of 2011, like Galaxy Nexus and some things. And now it's 400 plus, which is XH DPI. Okay, push notification. I will just tell you differences from iOS. Uh, we can receive a push notification from GCM, which is Google Cloud Messaging, and we receive a broadcast event actually. And upon receiving, you can do anything in the background. It's not necessary to pop up a notification UI. You can just do anything silently, and you can ignore. The payload size for GCM is 4 KB. I think iOS is 256 bytes or something, so yeah, it's quite large. But the problem is that when you use some third party, like Urban Airship or something, so you need to manage both, right? Because we send one notification for both. So it's go to the minimum limit anyways. And yeah, push notification is not the notification UI. Notification UI can be generated even offline or whatever, and there's a possibility that you receive a push notification but you don't generate anything. Again, Play Store or certificate, when you are uploading on Google, there's no testing. It's like, I don't know, they have some generic testing for viruses, but not application specific. They don't test it manually, so in 3 or 4 hours, the application is up. Then 3 or 4 hours also for updating all their servers, so it's very fast. And then the key store file that you use is not related to your account, not related to anything. It's just an offline sign file. The only restriction is that once you generate that file and you use one application to sign, and if you need to update that application, you must use the previous key store.
It's just an SSL key that you use. One SSL key you generate and then share it for the application. Use it for application across all developers. You create one SSL
No,
key.
but he asked me what if you use a key store? You lose the key store. You lose the application. You cannot publish an update. I mean, you cannot update, push an update, create a new application then.
So you cannot create the key from the application on the store itself.
Then what's the benefit? You download my application, you create the key. Yeah. Okay, and it can be generated by an offline tool. So it's, why I said this, it's not related to Google. You don't need to send your key store to Google or verify it or whatever. It's just your own property, just a signing certificate. So very simple than the iOS certificates. That's it. Thank you. I took 13 more minutes.
30 more minutes.
13 more minutes than my time. I was allocated 45 minutes. It took 57.